Oh, you've done it now, Johnny.
Welcome to the Breakdown with Jay and Nell, where we'll discuss all of your NFL and NBA news.
Tap in if you want to get to the breakdown.
All right.
Welcome to the breakdown. I'm L,
And I'm Jay.
and today, y'all, we have a special guest.
We have Levi on the show with us.
So let's get into these Week 8 matchups, y'all.
Well, first, before we start, how was your week?
Man, my week has been so long. Oh my gosh, so long. I'm glad I'm off. What about you, Levi?
It went pretty well. Can't complain.
Okay. Well, before we get into these game picks, Levi, just give everyone a brief introduction. Introduce yourself.
All right. Sorry. Okay. Well, I was contacted on TikTok because I have my own TikTok channel. It's Random Sports Fan Forum, and I just like to talk about sports in general and occasionally other things. I do actually have a degree in journalism, but
Cool.
I don't work in that field. I just do this instead. So.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on to our show.
Thank you.
And since we're going to go by your special request, we're going to talk about the Sunday night football game first. Dallas Cowboys versus San Francisco 49ers. And since you're our guest, you get to go first.
All right. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm picking San Francisco in this game. It's been apparent the last few years that the Cowboys can't really stop the run. That's been an Achilles heel for them for years now. And, Jordan Mason is having a great season. I think he's second in rushing right now in the NFL. The 49ers have one of the better offensive lines in the league. And even though they're going to be down Brandon Ayuk, they've still got Kittle. They've still got Debo. They've still got, receivers. So Dallas can't just commit to stopping the run, which means that Mason is probably going to have a field day. I'm really expecting him to go well over 100 yards, probably a touchdown or two, and I think that's going to be the reason that San Francisco ends up winning, is because they're going to be able to establish the run early and often, and Dallas won't be able to catch up to them if the 49ers get ahead by a good margin.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your commentary on the 49ers. I think that, obviously, I'm a 49ers fan, so I think we're definitely going to win eventually. I also think that without DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons, Dallas doesn't really have anybody on the front four or the front three that can really do damage. So, yeah, we're definitely going to win. You don't want to admit that, y'all.
I really don't. I had hope at first, but until I saw the injury report, Debo and Kittle both going to be available. So I might just switch my pick here. I'm sorry, fellow TikTokers. I did pick the Cowboys to win, but I'm going to 49ers. Like both of these guys just mentioned, it's just too much for us to overcome. We have too many injuries. We can't stop the run. Doesn't matter who you have back at running back. You're gonna run all over the Cowboys if you play us. Like Levi said, that's our Achilles heel. And yeah, it's gonna be they're gonna field day with us. It's gonna probably be similar to the Detroit loss. Probably lose badly like that. But
Heck, you could put any one of us three back there and we're gonna have a field day.
You're probably right. Probably right.
What's the next up on the list, fam?
All right. So we took care of Sunday night. So we're going to move over to the noon games. The first game I have here listed is the Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins.
Both of those teams are trash. But I will go with the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, Tua coming back. So that's going to be the added booster for them. And you're not catching Tyreek Hill at all, or Jalen Waddle. So I hope you got a check team because you ain't catching them.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins as well. And like you said, they get into it back. We don't know how effective he's going to be because he's been out since week 2. But um, I expect a little fireworks in terms of their offense getting back on track because their offense has been stagnant without Tua. But I think this is like a perfect like tune-up game for them to get themselves back on track offensively.
See, I'm with y'all. I'm going with the Dolphins. It's mainly because Tua is back. From what I've read, he's looking really good in practice. Like yesterday, they said he looked very sharp. But it also goes down to Arizona because I'm not really sure what Arizona's identity actually is because their offense is kind of weird where they have, like Marvin Harrison Jr., but they never really use him. They're trying to be a running team that drafted a wide receiver 4th overall, if that makes any sense. Their defense is okay, but I mean, they're not going to be able to stop Hill, Waddle, A-Chain, especially with Tua. And all Tua's going to need to do is just distribute the ball. He's one of the most accurate passers in the NFL. That's why the Dolphins got him. And all he has to do is get his ball to his playmakers, which is, easy to do when you've got the fastest receiving core in the league. They're going to get open. They're going to get their yards. And I don't think Arizona can necessarily catch them on offense because they want to try to play a different game. Like, so they want to try to run the ball more. And that isn't really going to happen, if Miami gets out there and gets up by 14 in the first quarter.
I agree. I find it funny that Arizona drafted a wide receiver so high if they're not going to use him. Like, what was the point of you drafting him as high as what he was if you're not going to use him?
Well, I mean, he's on. Oh, I was about to say, sorry, he's on the field like a lot, but they don't really target him, which again makes no sense to me. You would think that they would try to, target him at least 7-8 times a game. And some games he's only getting like 2.
Yeah, and that's the killer part. I also think that it doesn't help when you got a midget back there running around thinking this is man 25 and it's real life.
Yeah.
And stuck on Call of Duty.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of issues with Arizona. Don't know what they're trying to do. But let's move on to the next game. We have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans.
Wait, quick question before. Is Anthony Richardson playing this week?
No,
I think he's still out. Yeah.
You think he's still out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I know CJ Stroud is going to want to have a revenge game. And why not have it against the Indianapolis Colts? They're already down a player, so you might well go ahead and make them down a few scores too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Houston as well. It's too much firepower for them, and the Colts. I think they still without Jonathan Taylor too. I think he's still out, and they're missing Richardson, and Flacco. He's trying to steer the ship, but he's older. He may probably win you a game or 2. That's it. But I just like what Houston has. I like Stroud. I like the wide receivers they have. They're deep at wide receiver. So the loss of Nico Collins, it doesn't hit them as badly. And Joe Mixon, he's back. So I expect this game to be won convincingly by the Texans. I know the first meeting they had, it was pretty close. But without those players I mentioned about the Colts, I don't see this being a close game.
I'm also going to go with the Texans. I agree with y'all. Now, if Richardson's playing, then I'm still going to go with the Texans, but I think that Joe Flacco actually brings more stability to their quarterback position because you know what you have.
True.
I mean, Richardson, while he's learning the NFL, he makes a lot of these passes that you're like, that's why he was the number 4 overall pick. And then he'll he'll on the very next pass he'll throw a pass that you're like, how'd this guy get in the NFL? And that inconsistency, it hurts the Colts a lot because they've got an elite head coach like Shane Steichen, great coach. Flacco fits his system better. So Flacco's playing. I still think the Texans will win because their offense is better than the Colts' defense, and it'll be closer. Now, if Richardson is playing, I think it's Texans all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move over to the next game: Philadelphia Eagles versus Cincinnati Bengals.
Give me the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that Saquon Barkley is going to have a field day, and so is A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That offense is nasty. Or, well, it was nasty on paper, but it ain't nasty during the regular season.
Levi, you could go ahead. I'll go last.
I'm going to go with the Bengals in this game, and it's because their offense has been basically firing on all cylinders for the last few games. The Eagles are still trying to figure a few things out. You can see like Jalen Hurts is really not having a great season, which is shocking to me because, he's coming off, he had a pretty, I don't know what happened because he had that amazing Super Bowl. Then last season, about halfway through, they started falling apart, and Hurts really hasn't, gotten back to his Super Bowl self since then. And I think it's going to come down to it because I think Joe Burrow's playing better than Jalen Hurts, and I think that's going to be the difference. Probably a high-scoring game. I mean, both have, really high-powered offenses. Higgins and Chase have been scoring basically at will this season, and I don't see that changing, especially because I don't think Nick Sirianni's a very good coach. Like, if they have to scheme for Cincinnati and Cincinnati comes out and punches them in the mouth really early, the game's going to be over really early because they can't stop that receiver duo. And like I said, I think it has a lot to do with the coaching and Jalen Hurts not being as good as he has been. I really don't know what's going on, but if it's a quarterback battle, give me Burrow right now over Hurts.
Okay, I like how you brought up Nick Sirianni because I was going to mention that as well. I think that's the main issue with the Eagles. It's their coaching. It's Nick Sirianni. It's their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, former Dallas Cowboys coordinator. I don't buy into Kellen Moore's system. I just don't. And I don't think it's a good system for this Eagles team. That's why they're not as successful as they were in years past. And Jalen Hurts, he has kind of dropped off a little bit, so that has something to do with it too. But I think mainly it's a coaching issue. And but I'm still go with Philly, just because of Saquon Barkley. I think he's gonna have a big game. He's gonna have a big day. I cannot name a Cincinnati Bengals defender on their front line outside of Trey Hendrickson. I can't name anybody else. And Cincinnati's defense is not all that great. So if Philly can start early with the running game and be successful, I think that's going to open up their passing game as well. And it's going to make life easier for Jalen Hurts because of the play of Saquon Barkley.
I agree.
Are y'all ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know they lost Chris Godwin, and I know Mike Evans is out with his tweaked hamstring, but I feel like the overall play will outlast those injuries when it comes to that game.
This is going to be a big game because Atlanta won the first meeting. But I felt like Tampa Bay should have won that game, but they made some mistakes. I'm gonna roll with Tampa. I think I can't see them losing. I can't see the Falcons sweeping them. This is a division game. Even though the losses, like El mentioned, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think Tampa would be okay. I think Baker Mayfield, he'll find him a new target. I like their pair of running backs. I like White and Bucky Irving. They probably turn it into a running game. Just pound the ball on Atlanta. Test that front seven of Atlanta. But I'm gonna go with Tampa as well.
See, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm actually going to go with Atlanta in this game. And Baker Mayfield, right, was in the MVP talk before this last game. Now, he can really be in the MVP talk if he keeps showing up without his top two receivers.
Yeah.
But if we look at it, after Mike Evans left, he threw 2 interceptions. Like after Evans left, the Falcons just have too much on offense right now. I mean, Bijan's doing really well. Drake London is like a top 5 fantasy receiver right now. He's putting up yards. I mean, Kirk Cousins, old veteran quarterback, distributes the ball very well, doesn't make mistakes. I just think that Tampa has lost too much on offense without Evans, without Godwin, because you've got White, you've got Bucky Irving, you've even got Sean Tucker, their third running back who can play. He's an NFL running back as well. But if you line up and like, hey, I don't have to respect Mike Evans, I don't have to respect Chris Godwin because they're not there, you can load the box a little more against their running backs. I mean, Rachaad White really is not that efficient of a runner when, the heat's on him. Like, he gets a lot of carries, he gets volume, but he doesn't really do much with those carries, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he has in the last few games, but I think their injuries are too much. Atlanta's, clicking on offense, have got it figured out. Veteran quarterback who's not going to make mistakes. They're not going to turn the ball over inside their own red zone to set up the Buccaneers for easy touchdowns or anything of that nature. So I think Atlanta's got this one.
Okay. Well, it's definitely going to be a great game. So I'll be looking forward to that one. Now, next up we have is New York Jets versus the Patriots. This should be an easy pick for everyone.
I'm going with the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers had a bad game last game, so he's going to want to come out and prove himself. And Devontae Adams, and you just rebuilt. I mean, you got Devontae Adams, so use him. And use Garrett Wilson. You got a two-headed monster. So use the wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets too. I think now Rodgers and Devontae, they have some time to actually practice. They had a full week of practice. Try to regain that chemistry with each other. And there's no reason this Jets offense should be struggling the way it is. You have weapons on offense. You have Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams. You have good pair of running backs and Brees Hall and Braylon Allen. So they gotta make something happen offensively. And New England, they're struggling right now. They're a rebuilding team. There's no way you should lose to a rookie quarterback too. So give me the Jets.
See, as much as I want to say the Patriots, I'm also going to go with the Jets for the reason, like, Drake May's the guy. New England's found their guy. He's had a really good 2 starts, and you see why he was 3rd overall pick, which is good. You want to see flashes from a rookie quarterback. But he's also a rookie quarterback. They're playing against a defensive coach with a pretty good defense. And I don't know what their problem on offense has been, but they're just way more talented on offense. I mean, that's all I can really say. And the Patriots have not been good this year. They've not been very competitive. They will be in the future, just not this season. So I'm going to go with the Jets.
Okay. That was a pretty easy pick for everyone. All right, let's move over. We have a couple of games and the new slate, and then we move over to evening. But we have Green Bay Packers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Give me the Green Bay Packers. I think that Jordan Love should have a field day. They should have a field day. Like, they should be well over 300 yards. He should throw for over 300 yards, his name. And they should blow them out.
You go ahead, Levi.
Okay, I'm also going with the Packers, but for a different reason. It's because their defensive coordinator right now should be assistant coach of the year with what he's done with their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville's offense is not very good. I don't know what happened to Doug Peterson calling plays. I mean, he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. But it's like Trevor Lawrence has regressed so much, and I don't understand it. But I just think they're gonna shut down the Jaguars' offense. I mean, Tank Bigsby had that really good game last week against New England. He's not going to have the same type of production against the Packers, who are very well coached on defense, and should give the offense, pretty good field position, because odds are there's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs for Jacksonville. And, if you're start at the 30 and you're having to punt from the 35, that's already giving you good field position. So, like he said, I think the Packers should win this game by double digits, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers as well. First off, Doug Peterson, he should be fired. I don't even know why he's still their head coach. They're just a bad team, like just all around. And they have a few talented pieces, but for some reason, they just can't make them all work. And like you said, Lawrence, he has regressed a lot, but I think it has to do with the coaching. Like, Doug Peterson is not a good coach right now. But I'm going to Green Bay. Like you said, their defense has been impressive. And they got Jordan Love back, and he's looked good as well. But I think it's going to be a blowout too. I just don't see how Jacksonville can make it competitive. I know it's the NFL; anything can happen, but I just don't see it happening with Jacksonville. I got Green Bay winning convincingly. All right. Next up, we have is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns.
Ball, Baltimore should run all over them. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry should be breaking records that game. Whatever the stat is, they need to blow them out. They ain't got no running game. They ain't got no offense. They ain't got no quarterback. So just go ahead, roll over, play dead, and hope you don't lose too bad.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore as well. It's no burner. Derrick Henry is not washed. For all the people that say he was washed, he's not washed. You've seen it right before your eyes. He's producing at a high level. His numbers are outstanding. He has a chance to crack the rushing record, which is like 2,000 and something yards in a single season. So, like I said, Browns just they're decimated. They have injuries. Not a good football team right now. Their star quarterbacks out for the season. People are questioning their head coach. He may be fired. It's just not looking for good for Cleveland. They're not a good organization. So I expect for Derrick Henry to have a field day. Lamar too. Lamar's going to go off too. And Zay Flowers, he's going to join the party too.
Before you start,
All right. Okay, so
I just want to say that run that Derrick Henry had in the third, maybe the fourth quarter, the 80-yarder,
Oh yeah.
he should have scored. He definitely should have scored. That's it. Go ahead.
okay, so personally, I think Baltimore's going to win, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say why I think the Browns have a shot in this game, because they do. They are a better team when Jameis Winston plays. That is apparent. They have a really good head coach in Kevin Stefanski. He's won Coach of the Year twice. It's just Deshaun Watson just fell off the face of the earth. Nick Chubb's back this week too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, David Njoku had 12 targets last week. He caught, I think, 10 or 11 passes last week. Cedric Tillman, their third-round pick from a few years ago, showed that he can play in the NFL. I mean, they're not as bad as people think they are. They've got a good offensive line. They've got a better defense than people give them credit for. And they run better under a backup quarterback. So while I do think Baltimore is going to win this game, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Cleveland did win this game, because they have the pieces to win. I think a lot of people are counting them out, but they're getting a lot back also. Like I said, they got rid of the issue, which was Watson. Watson's play has been atrocious. They're just paying him so much money they can't justify benching him. Well, now that's not a problem. And you saw last week, their offense moved way better the moment he left the game.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, you're all right. Jameis Winston, he's a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson, but I'm still a little Baltimore. I think just Baltimore has too much offensively.
Oh yeah, I still think Baltimore's going to win, but I can make the case that Cleveland can win this game. I still think Baltimore will, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Cleveland does pull this off.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna move up to the last noon game: Tennessee Titans versus Detroit Lions. Should be another easy pick.
Detroit should run all over the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback. He's not even a good backup
Well,
quarterback.
let me stop you there. I don't even think he's playing. I think he's still out.
I just mean
It's
Yeah,
Mason Rudolph started last week, and I think he's going to start again this week. So
both of them are bad quarterbacks.
I mean Mason Rudolph, he's serviceable.
Okay. But both of them are bad quarterbacks. I honestly think that they should have kept Malik Willis. But yeah, it's atrocious what they got going on. I'm glad that DeAndre Hopkins got away from them. I just hate who he went to, but I'm glad he got away.
We're gonna talk about him later. But I'm gonna go with the Lions too. I like the offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. He's going to get himself a head coaching job after this season because what he's able to do with Detroit offensively is masterclass. Like it's just he sets them up perfectly to succeed. Like when they had the two pair of running backs, Sonic and Knuckles, as they like to call themselves, David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, and I like the tight end Laporta too, and
that's
St. Brown.
That's the Iowa love, baby. You know, Iowa don't do nothing but produce bomb tight ends.
Yeah, they do. But they're clearly the better team, just from top to bottom, coaching to players. So gotta go with the Lions, and I feel like they're the best team in the NFC right now.
And that's
yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions, and it basically comes down to Dan Campbell's not going to let them fall into a trap game, and they're just going to win. I mean, he's the type of coach that is not going to allow them to let up because they're playing a bad opponent. Like they're going to keep the hammer down, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yep. All right. So that's the noon slate, you guys. We're gonna shift over to the evening games, the 3 o'clock games. First off, we have is the Buffalo Bills versus the Seattle Seahawks.
ooh, I need the Buffalo Bills to win because the Seahawks are in my division, and I need them to be last in the division. So, come on, Buffalo, come through for me.
I had a feeling that was gonna be your reasoning behind your pick.
Yeah, I don't care about Josh Allen. I like Keon Coleman, but I don't like Amari Cooper.
All right. Sound no alarms. This is my first upset alert. I think Seattle's gonna win. They got some of their players back on defense, and I forgot where they played last week. Was it Atlanta?
Who, Buffalo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Seahawks.
No, the Seahawks. I'm not sure who they played last week.
I think it was Atlanta.
I think it was Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it was Atlanta.
Because that one-handed block that DK Metcalf did, I said, oh, man, are you sure you want to be in the NFL?
I don't remember that play. I'm gonna have to look it up.
You don't? Go back and go look it up.
But I'm gonna go with Seattle here. I like what McDonald has done with their defense. Their defense has looking great when everyone is healthy. And I think Geno Smith, he's playing slightly better now. I think because he has a defense to help to bail him out. But they have a nice core group of guys on their offense too. So I like Kenneth Walker. I like DK. I like Tyler Lockett and JSN. But for some reason, I just have Seattle winning this game.
All right, I want to start by saying that I think this game is basically a toss-up. Both teams are pretty good. I'm going to go with Buffalo, and it's because of what they've been doing on offense recently. So they intentionally spread the ball around a lot, and that's hard to scheme for because like I said, I'm a Cowboys fan. CeeDee Lamb's getting the ball.
Yeah.
Now with Buffalo, you really don't know who's getting the ball on any play because last week I think they had their first 100-yard receiver of the season, but 3 receivers went over 50 yards receiving.
Oh.
So they do spread the ball out a pretty good bit. So they do scheme plays for certain players, and I think that that's going to be the difference, is that they're actually playing like team ball. There's no just star on the offense. It's everybody eating at the same time, and it's really working. So I believe they're like, 5-2 right now, I think?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I just think they have a better chance of winning. Now, like I said earlier, Seattle's a good team, so it wouldn't surprise me. I just think Buffalo has the better odds of winning this week.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be a good game, too. It's going to be a good game for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we have this is a bad game. New Orleans Saints versus Los Angeles Chargers.
Chargers in this game. I mean, I think Chris Olave's out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's out.
I mean, the Saints won the first 2 games, and they've just fallen apart since. I mean, the Chargers, but then again, though, the Chargers, I mean, Dobbins had the first 2 games were great. He hadn't really done much since then. I just think that they're going to play control of the ball, and they're going to win probably a low-scoring game.
I agree with you. I definitely feel like the Chargers will win. They ain't got as many weapons as what New Orleans has, but it's definitely gonna be a low scoring, drag out game.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is Derek Carr back, or is he still injured? I don't know.
He's still out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers too. I like Jim Harbaugh. I like him as a coach. The young receivers, they've been okay, but I like for them to trade for a receiver. Like you said, J.K. Dobbins, he looked good the first couple of games, and then he just kind of like tapered off. Don't know what's going on there, but I just have a feeling the Chargers are going to win. Like you said, it's going to be a close game. All right, next up we have is the Chicago Bears versus the Washington Commanders. Before y'all start, Jaden Daniels is questionable, so it's a game time.
Right.
It's a game time decision if he's going to start or not. But y'all go ahead and start and make y'all picks.
I would still rock with Washington. I think they got the momentum, and they're playing so well that they're going to want to extend that. Yes, Caleb Williams has been doing pretty well, but I think that Washington wants it more.
You go ahead, Levi.
See, if Daniels plays, then I'm going to go with Washington. If he doesn't play, I think I would go with the Bears because we really haven't got to see. Jaden Daniels has basically been a revolution for Washington, just like Caleb Williams has been a revolution for the Bears. But we haven't really seen how Mariota is going to distribute the ball. I mean, Brian Robinson's having a great year running back as well, but I think part of his greatness is because Jaden Daniels is back there. Like you have to account for him. Like I'm an LSU fan. I'm from Louisiana originally. Jaden Daniels, like that Heisman Trophy year, if he had a halfway decent defense, there's a good chance they'd have been in the national championship game. I mean, against Florida, he had 600-700 yards of offense by himself. And that's translated over to the NFL because he's getting the runs, he's getting the throws, he's airing it out to McLaurin, who's had a good quarterback for the first time in his career. And it's just the game totally changes with Jaden Daniels versus him not being there, if that makes any sense.
It does. Before you go, Jay, question. Do you think is it the system he's in, or is it the coach?
Wait, do I?
Or is it the player? I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, you broke up there a little bit.
Is it the system he's in, or is it the player?
I think it's a little of both because, I mean, you can be the best player in the league, but if you're not in a system that fits you, then, you're not really going to do very well. But also at the same time, you can be in an amazing system that fits you, but if you're not a very good player, it really isn't going to matter. So NFL is really, it's not like any other sport in the world where you have to be like, it's a mix of everything. It's a mix of your coaching. It's a mix of your system. It's a mix of your athletics. You have to basically, to be really good in the NFL, it has to be the perfect storm, essentially. There are only maybe one or two quarterbacks in the NFL right now who I can say, like, hey, they can probably play in any system. I mean, Daniels is he's halfway through his first year, so I can't say if he's one of those guys yet, but most quarterbacks are not. There's only like a select few who are, like that good. So time will tell, but as of right now, I think it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Levi. Like I think, like I always say, players and system they have to go hand in hand. Because if you don't have the right players to fit your system, it's not going to work. Or if it does work, it's going to be temporary. It's not going to be a constant thing. So, but to my pick, I'm gonna go with the Commanders too. I think they just it's something about them. It's like a Cinderella type story with them. Not saying they're gonna make a deep playoff run, but they could be one of those teams that make it to the playoffs, and that'll be good enough for them because it's been a while since they make the playoffs. But Jaden Daniels, he's like no question, he's the offensive rookie of the year. But I'm going to Washington. They're just well coached right now. I think that's the main thing. Like they're coaching their players into the right spots, and they're going off of how their players fit the system, whether the system fits the players. So I gotta go to Washington.
Okay. Okay.
All right, next up we have is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Las Vegas Raiders. DeAndre Hopkins will play.
Oh, that wasn't going to matter.
That's unfair. But we all gonna pick the same team.
Yeah.
Kansas City is definitely gonna come through and blow them boys out. And that's without Rice and without Pacheco.
Right. I kind of think the Raiders are probably the worst team in the NFL. They're playing the only undefeated team left. I think we all know how this is going to go. So,
Yeah, it's no burner. The Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to see how DeAndre Hopkins fits into that Chiefs offense, but I think he'll fit fine. But what are your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins and his fit with Kansas City?
okay, so here's my thing with, because we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing old wide receivers get traded pretty often now, correct?
Yeah.
Like we're seeing that. It is more of the exception, like Stephon Diggs making an impact in Houston, than the rule that these older wide receivers are making impacts on their new teams. Like, because I'm just going to be honest, age gets everybody. Their best years are behind them. Like, I think Hopkins is going to have a good season, but this is not Houston DeAndre Hopkins anymore.
Yeah.
Those, 1,400 yard seasons are behind him. He's not going to have that. Now, he's a presence that you have to account for, and that's why they got him. I think he's going to have a good season, but he's not going to be the superstar level that he used to be. He's probably going to have average numbers, but that's what they need right now. I mean, with Rashee Rice gone, they need a receiver who can consistently put up 50 to 70 yards a game, and I think that Hopkins is going to be that guy.
I agree. I think that DeAndre Hopkins' best years were behind him, but he could at least be decent. You know what I mean? Which is like he may get 1,200 yards a game, or in the season, but he ain't got as many touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like it's balancing itself out.
Yeah. I think he's gonna fit with him fine. Like even yeah, like Levi said, he's not going to have big numbers, but to have like a DeAndre Hopkins like out there and you use him as a decoy, maybe that'll open up opportunities for other wide receivers to get open.
Is David Worthy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Right, and like I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. I still think he's going to do well, but those days of consistent 100-yard
yeah,
games is not there. But like I said, they don't need that
yeah,
though.
Yeah.
They need a receiver who's going to come out, get 4 or 5 catches a game, probably get 50 to 70 yards, just keep the offense moving. And I think that's what they got him for. And that's going to be a huge contributing factor because once you get to the playoffs, you need consistency, and he's going to provide that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, this is the last game of the evening slate. Is the Carolina Panthers versus the Denver Broncos.
Man, both them teams trash, but if I had to pick, which I do clearly, give me Denver. Denver's just playing a whole lot better than Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going with Denver as well. I think they have a top 5 defense this year. But I like Patrick Surtain. I feel like he's the best corner in the NFL, in my opinion. But their defense is just it's crazy. It's a great defense.
But a trash offense?
Not necessarily trash offense, but Bo Nix, he's a rookie, so it's gonna take him some time to get acclimated with the NFL. But it's times he's been terrible, but he's been pretty decent too. So, but I'm going with Denver.
I'm going with Denver. I'm going with them because Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach. He's got them in the right direction. I think they're like on a 4-game winning streak too.
Man, it's crazy.
They're on a winning streak right now. So he's got Denver on the right track. But what I really want to talk about, though, is Bryce Young with the Panthers. He's starting again. His confidence is shot. And now he's playing one of the better defenses in the NFL. I think this is going to be another disaster game for him. And it's not entirely his fault. Like, Young needs to get out of Carolina.
Yes.
He needs a change of scenery if he's going to salvage his NFL career. And to be completely honest with you, I hate to say it like this, but I think I don't think he's ever going to be a starter again. I just don't know if he has what it takes to be a star NFL quarterback, and that's not ability related. That's not team related. You want to see flashes out of a young quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you really haven't seen many from him. I mean, his first pass this season was an interception. First pass intercepted by the Saints, and they lost 47-10 in that game.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that.
And the Saints, the wheels have fallen off for them since then. So they're not a great team, and he looked bad against a not great team. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think the start's going to be very bad for him, and I would not be surprised if it was a blowout game.
I think that Bryce Young is not a decent. It's not, like you said, it's not a starting quarterback, and I believe that his stature and his confidence is shot. So even if they wanted to ship him around, you're not gonna get what you thought you were gonna get for him.
See, and here's my thing with him being, I think, what is he, 5'10"?
I think so, or 5'9" or something like that.
Yeah. So he's under 6 foot, or he might be right at 6 foot. But the thing with that is a quarterback who's on the shorter side can work in the NFL, but you have to have something exceptional about you. Like your accuracy needs to be exceptional, or your leadership needs to be exceptional. And he's really not shown that. He showed it at Alabama, but I mean, it's Alabama. You've got a load of NFL talent around you. So that's what I'm saying. Drew Brees, short, incredible accuracy. Russell Wilson, short quarterback, can move, incredible accuracy. You have to have something about you, and Young really isn't that athletic of a player. I mean, he can scramble when he needs to, but he's not going to burn you with his legs.
Yeah.
And his whole thing when they drafted him was he's going to be an accurate passer, and he really hasn't been that either. So I really don't know where he goes from here.
I'm not ready to write him off yet.
You should be.
I do, I do agree with you. He needs to get out of Carolina. I think that's the main thing. He needs to get, he needs to get with like a creative, I think, offensive play caller. Like, I don't know if you may have saw my social media post, Levi, but I did a post about Bryce Young, and he's in trade rumors right now. He may get traded now, but for the deadline, he may get traded in the offseason. But one of the teams I had on the list was the Miami Dolphins. With the situation with Tua, I like Mike McDaniels as a head coach and a play caller, and I think he can find something with Young. He can unlock something for Young's game that he's not displaying in Carolina right now, just because lack of weapons and bad culture in Carolina. So I think he just needs a change of scenery first before I go off and say he's a bust or he's not a start anymore. And granted, he's still young. He's 23. This is his second year in the league. So,
But although that's true, you gotta look at it like this. Yeah, this is your second year in the league, but you've had a rotating carousel of coaches, and you have no real star players.
that's what I'm saying. He needs to get to a stable organization.
So aside from Miami, who else would he go to?
I'm not going to spend time on it because if you want, I'll send you or you can go on our TikTok and look at the video. But we'll get back to the game picks. So we all agree with Denver, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is the last game, Monday Night Football. New York Giants versus Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh is gonna run all over them. Well, not literally run, but that's what I'm saying. Pittsburgh all day.
I'm also going to go with Pittsburgh. And I hate to say it because I think Brian Daboll is a really good coach. He's been dealt a bad hand. I mean, Daniel Jones should have never got that extension.
Nope.
Andrew Thomas is out for the season now, so a possible future Hall of Fame left tackle, because he's been playing up to his, potential. He's out for the season. The Giants' defense really isn't that good, and I mean, I'm expecting Pittsburgh just to win this game. I mean, Russell Wilson's kind of at the back end of his career, and the Steelers' offense really isn't scoring that much, but they're going to score in this game. I mean, the Giants they're just not a good team. Even though they've got a good coach, they've got decent pieces. They just haven't put it all together yet.
I think that, in my opinion, you never go to a basketball school and get a football player. I think that's where they messed up at.
I mean,
well, even when they drafted him, they thought that was a questionable pick, So, because to be honest with you, none of the quarterbacks in that year's class were like great. I mean, Kyler Murray's been the only one that comes to mind. I couldn't remember if Purdy was not in that draft. He was in the Trey Lance one. I was trying to think of if there were any other late round picks in that draft, but I think that Murray's the only one that's serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to Steelers as well. I like Mike Tomlin as a head coach. Russell Wilson, their offense looks better with him as starting quarterback. I do like Justin Fields, but it's just something with Russell Wilson. The offense looks better. I guess because he's more experienced, but and he's more accurate with the football than Justin Fields. But this Pittsburgh team is looking kind of scary. So they could be a dark horse this season. Still,
see.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to give a shout out to Mike Tomlin, like you said. Mike Tomlin's probably one of the best. He's definitely one of the greatest coaches of my lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, never had a losing season, and I just don't understand how he continues to do it year in and year out because Pittsburgh doesn't look special. If you watch them play, they don't look special, but they only have 2 losses.
No.
Like I think they're 5-2. Or something like that.
Yeah, they're 5-2.
4-3. I mean, yeah, they're 5-2. And when you watch them, you're like, "How's this team 5-2?" because they don't just jump out at you. Like there's like you watch like I said, you watch Kansas City, and even when Mahomes doesn't play good, you can tell it's an incredibly talented team. Pittsburgh is kind of like, you look at them and you're like, I don't know how they're doing this, but they're doing it. So I got to give a shout out to Tomlin. I mean, he does it year in and year out with less than optimal players, and I mean, he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I wanted him as our next head coach. Like, I think it was this past season when they gave him a contract extension. I wanted the Cowboys. I was hoping the Cowboys fired McCarthy, and we look at Mike Tomlin, but that didn't work. I mean, that didn't happen. So, but
I saw where Steelers fans were wanting to get rid of him. I'm like, you do realize that if you got rid of Tomlin, he would be hired 5 minutes after getting fired, right?
yes,
Like to any job he wanted. I mean, if I sat down and went through every coach in the NFL, I could say, okay, he wouldn't get Andy Reid's job or he wouldn't get this person's job, but the vast majority of teams would be calling him.
Yeah, I agree.
He would have been most of the highly touted head coaching candidates.
Probably ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for our game picks, y'all. Is there anything else that either one of you wanted to add?
Levi, thank you for coming on to our show. We greatly appreciate your insight and your knowledge. You guys subscribe to his channel and his page on TikTok. Continue liking and subscribing on our page, in our TikTok, and our YouTube, and our Facebook, and our Twitter.
Our social media
Yeah, our social medias. I want to give a special shout out to my wife and check out her channel or her page, which is Out the Mouth of Grown Folks. Available Wednesdays at 8.
Yeah. Thank you, Levi, for coming on in the show. I know we interact with each other a lot on TikTok, and I'm glad I was able to set this up. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and I'm just glad that you're able to come on to the show and join us.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed it, so I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, no problem. We're definitely going to have you back on the show. I missed you probably, my plans. I'm not going to reveal them now, but I just have big plans for us coming up for the holidays. So y'all stay tuned for that. But like El said, just continue to support us, man. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, share with your family and friends. Follow us all on our social media accounts. But we're going to keep dropping this content for you all. And you all have a blessed day. And thanks again, Levi.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.